And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Chalk Talk. I am your host, Kim Davis. It is Wednesday. Thank you for being here today because if you're here, that means you saw the messages. And what is that? You saw the messages about a different time this week for the show. I hit something when I walked outside briefly. Let me just not have you distracted by whatever that was. So this week, shows on Wednesday. It's because the Houston Texans have a Thursday night game. It changed the schedule for the week. And so, this week we're on Wednesday. Next week we go back to Tuesday. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being a part of this week's show. And thank you for always being a part of Chalk Talk. If you are watching on whatever platform you're viewing this, whether you're watching it live or if you are checking us out on one of the recordings, please do share the video with your audience. So on this week's show, there is a lot to get to, and we are really going to work to get it, the show down to, my goal is to 35 to 40 minutes. That's the new goal for the show, right? You guys have such great comments. I appreciate your engagement and feedback, but that is the new goal, and we have some other exciting things coming as well. So since we met last week, the Texans had their second game of the season. They went to Cleveland. Had a good first half, but of course it is a game of two halves, right? You got to play the whole game, and they lost that game in Cleveland. They got beat up a little bit physically because it was a very physical contest, right? In case you, if you had a chance to watch that game, there were some things that were probably surprising about this team that for those of you who have not really had a chance to see them a lot. And what I would say is this, they competed defensively. They looked pretty good. They struggled later in the game. They missed some tackles. It seems like they may have been worn down a bit. That could be because the offense wasn't giving them a lot of help in the second half. And the big thing in the game is that they lost Tyrod Taylor. He went out with a hamstring injury. We don't know for how long, but what we do know is he's going to be back next week, right? This is going to be an injury that keeps him out for a little bit because he was placed on IR. So it's not a day-to-day, maybe he's back next week. I've heard sources say that he could be out up to a month. I don't know, but what we do know is hamstring injuries can be kind of tricky. So we don't know how long he's going to be out. So Kim, what does that mean? I'm so glad you asked. It means that Davis Mills, the rookie quarterback, the third round pick out of Stanford, will get the start on Sunday. In fact, Davis Mills the rookie actually went in the game this past Sunday because Tyrod did not come back in the second half. He got injured late in the first half. The second half, Davis Mills came out and was the starter. So, there's lots of questions about, do you change things because of you've got this rookie in now? What do you do with your offense? And let me back up before we even get to that. One of the questions that some of you have asked me, you've inboxed me and reached out to me since Sunday, and said why wouldn't they bring in another quarterback this week? And really, they really didn't have time to do that. You have to remember, this is a Thursday night game. So they really only had 2 days of practice, right? Monday, and then Tuesday was like the Wednesday, right? That's when it's like your full day. And then today, Wednesday, is the walkthrough. They play tomorrow night. So there's just no way you could bring in another quarterback and have him learn an entire system in 2 days. It's not feasible. Now, if it was a regular game on a Sunday, that, maybe. But they have they did a lot of work with Davis Mills over the summer in OTAs. Not OTAs, he wasn't here, but after the draft, mini camp, throughout training camp and preseason, and they feel good about him. And they feel good about, what he can do. One of the things that Coach Cully says is that whenever he makes a mistake, he comes back and he like fixes it. And so they feel pretty good about what they're going to get, what they can get from Davis Mills. So two different things, no time really. And they didn't bring it up. I'm just telling you, you can't bring in another quarterback and you only have 2 days. And you don't even really have 2 full days of practice, right? Because usually by Tuesday, guys are just kind of really getting back into it from the previous week, injuries and all that sort of stuff. So on a short week, getting in, bringing in a new guy, not really an option. I'm going to let you hear from David Culley, and then I'm going to answer a couple questions that I got on Instagram about a Cam Newton and what the options are may be moving forward. So let's first go and listen a little bit to here's head coach David Culley. He talked about Davis Mills and just heading into this game against Carolina. Let's see here. Texans coach David Culley.
Davis will start the game. Tyrod will not play. We're maybe going to bring up Jeff Driscoll.
Okay, sorry about that. That little noise was something that we were doing different yesterday in the media room, turning the mic up. So that was him talking about the fact that Davis is going to play. Tim Kelly talked about Tim Kelly's the offensive coordinator, who, if you heard me talk about Tim Kelly, I think that Tim Kelly has been doing a pretty good job. And I know it's early, but just in terms of how he's running the offense and calling the games. So this is Tim Kelly talking about Davis Mills, offensive coordinator.
I mean, other than the first drive, I don't think he was really that uncomfortable on Sunday, and that's probably to be expected for a guy that's come in. And, I mean, that's not an easy place to play, and the situation was tough being backed up like we were. So I thought he did a good job of settling down, and really he put us in a spot to make it a one-score game with just over 2 to go. So, yeah, there's some things that we need to clean up and I need to clean up, but hopefully, like you said, with him getting these reps, he's feeling, more comfortable, if you want to say that, moving forward. But I didn't think he was uncomfortable on Sunday. Yeah, I thought for the most part he did a good job, other than the one, of recognizing the front and identifying the defense and getting the ball out of his hand.
What has impressed you about his development in the last few weeks?
He's really smart. He comes to work every day. He studies, and he's got he can make every throw that you want him to make. So now it's going to be fun to see him go out there under the lights and go out there and perform at a high level.
Okay, so that's Tim Kelly talking about Davis Mills. And I know it's easy. Good morning, Ron McCamp. It's so great to see you. I've got to reach out to you, my friend. I've been meaning to call you. It is, I know people are like, oh my gosh, Davis Mills is awful. He is not the guy that you would, automatically say, hey, let's go start him right now. But, given the circumstances, you have to go with who you have. And so Davis Mills, the only way that I don't know how good he's going to be. Let me start there. I don't know what his ceiling is. I don't know down the road how good he is. Does he have some skills and some talent? Absolutely. Is he a rookie and still learning a lot? Absolutely. And so I don't have super high expectations about what we're going to see on Thursday night, not just because Davis Mills is starting, but because this Texans team is a little banged up, and I just don't think they're going to take chances with players that are like, they got hurt on Sunday, it's a short week, do you risk long-term injury for this game on Thursday? I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of, on the, and I'll talk to you about the injury list that they had, that they put out yesterday in terms of what to expect. So that's one thing. But hey, good morning, Deborah. It's good to see you. And hello, Sandra. Welcome. Thank you all. Some new faces or some new comments, at least in Chalk Talk. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. So Davis Mills, and Tim Kelly's right. I mean, he didn't look awful. Like he didn't respond to that blitz well. He got that. He did lead him down to score a touchdown. We had one mistake, if you will. Not really awful, but some things that happened with this team in the second half. When they came out after halftime, and they were 3-and-out a couple times and weren't able to convert. You end up putting your defense back on its heels, and so. Was the defense a little worn down in the second half, perhaps? But they had some missed tackles, which is not something you expect from this team, because that's one of the things they always talk about. On this Lovie Smith defense, the defense did create some turnovers. I mean, there's a lot that they can clean up, and this Cleveland's defense is thought of as being pretty good. They've got two guys on the outside in Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett that are really kind of beast. And the fact that this offensive line, I think, held up pretty good against them. I think the offensive line play has been definitely improved. It's an improved unit from this team last year, as is the defensive front. So there's still it's week 2. It's a whole lot of new moving pieces, and when they say next man up, they really mean next man up. So Davis Mills gets the call this weekend. Now that we know that Tyrod Taylor is officially on the injured reserve list, will this team go out and get a veteran quarterback as a backup? I imagine they have to, right? Jeff Driscoll, as you heard David Culley say, will be the backup quarterback on Thursday. Again, that's what you have. Like, you've got 3 quarterbacks. I mean, 4 technically on the roster. We know that this Sean is not an option, unfortunately. So you really got 3 options, right? Tyrod was the starter. Davis Mills was your backup. Jeff Driscoll was on the practice squad. They elevated him. He'll be the backup on this week on Thursday. But undoubtedly, Nick Caserio is out checking out the market to see who bring in the backup. I can't imagine really that this team would want to go on with Jeff Driscoll as your backup, because if Davis Mills goes down, now you're talking about Jeff Driscoll, and I don't really think that's the answer. I imagine that they are out looking for a quarterback, and it's not really something, quite frankly, that I expected David Culley to be able to really speak to. Like, he's got a couple days to get his team ready, right, for a game on Thursday night. So whether or not they go out next week and get another quarterback, that really could not be his focus. And that's what you have Nick Caserio for. Your general manager should be doing those things. So here is Tim Kelly further talking about a little more about Davis Mills, but also what to expect from this Panthers defense. And this Panthers team has been playing really well. Here's offensive coordinator Tim Kelly.
They're fast, and they run to the ball at every level. They've got guys that can fly. Their 2 ends are as good of a speed rusher as we've seen. Obviously, we saw 2 good rushers last week, but they're totally different. Got really good athleticism. They can bend. They've got good counter moves to the inside. Shaq runs all over the place. He runs and hits. The chin guy, flies around. He's blitzing. He sticks his foot in the ground last year against Green Bay. Comes down and makes a play. Almost gets the ball out 17 yards downfield. Like, he's just all of them play really, really hard. You feel their team speed when you watch them play. Go ahead, Brett.
Not having a guy like Tyrod who can give you an advantage on running and things like that. How does that present a challenge whenever the defense can maybe expect more narrow stuff in the run game?
Yeah, I mean, it may be a little bit more traditional. I wouldn't say that we're completely out of that. So there's going to be different challenges when you have, like we talked about earlier, with each quarterback that goes out there, there's going to be things that certain people do better than others. So it's our job as coaches to figure what they do best and make sure we're putting them in those spots as many times as possible.
So that was Tim Kelly talking about what you can expect from this Panthers defense. And as he says, they're really fast, right? They're really fast. So also, I want to let you hear from Lovie Smith, defensive coordinator. He talked a little bit about how his team has performed to this point, and it talks about going into this Panthers team, facing this Panthers team on Thursday night. We know about the big running back, right? We know what kind of challenges he presents. But here's Lovie Smith talking about just facing this Panthers offense, which has been effective. They've got a new quarterback. Here's defensive coordinator Lovie Smith.
Well, a lot of people have tried to do that, as you said. I mean, he's one of the best players in our league. Can do it all. Of course, he's tough duty. As a receiver, when he's catching the football, whether out of the backfield, splitting him out as a wide receiver, they do a great job of putting him in different spots, getting the ball to him. But he's a running back, and of course, he can make you miss in the open field, run in between the tackles. I'm telling you all the things he does well, but how do you stop a guy? Well, it's still going to go back to, first off, being sound and disciplined. You can't make a mistake. You have to have somebody in every gap, gang tackle, pursuit to the football. All of those things gives you the best chance to slow him down a little bit. Not many people are going to stop him completely.
With the Panthers, do you see that they mix and match more than most teams normally do?
Mix and match, what do you mean by that?
You know, Chris McCaffrey's wide receiver, different things. Sometimes receivers even run the ball.
Well, I don't think many people have a guy like that. And when you do have a guy like that, you're always trying to get a favorable matchup. And the more positions you put him in, the better chance you'll have of getting that. So he's kind of unique in that sense. And as I say, the coaches do a great job of that.
Levy, what did you see from your defense last week that you really liked?
That's a glass half full for sure, which I like. Things Justin Reed's play. We didn't play the run, and we gave up some big plays. We didn't like that. But, our guys play hard. They show up always. And, we always want to start fast on the road. We're able to do that, get a stop right away. Jacob Martin rushing the passer, different things like that. But what we like is a few times we took the ball away, but there's just so much we can improve upon. And that's why when you don't play your best game, you want to get back on the football field as soon as you can. And a Thursday night game, of course, allows you to do that. We've talked about the personnel as a defensive player to play against, one of the best players in the league. Start with that. And they have so much more. Excellent wide receiver core. As fast a receiver core as we're going to probably play. And Sam Darnold is playing outstanding ball. He's been a good player for a long period of time, and it seems like he's gotten in the perfect situation for him.
So that was Lovie Smith talking about a few things, how his defense performed this past Sunday, some things they can clean up, and what they really expect to face when they take on this Panthers team on Thursday night primetime. And here's something interesting, and the question came up a lot about whether or not the team, asking players, and whether or not they feel like it's a great opportunity to be on prime time to show people what they have, and for the most part, the players are like, yeah, every game we approach every game the same. Like we want to win. We know how we feel about the men in the locker room and our coaching staff. How we feel about our unit, and so basically we're not tripping about it being prime time. So that I just that's a question that came up a lot. I wanted to address that, and I wanted to answer that. One of the questions that I got was about Cam Newton, and I wanted to talk about it on the show, whether or not Cam Newton is an option for this team. I really don't know. My initial reaction is probably not. Not that Cam isn't any good. We know that he can play. I'm just not sure that Cam is an option. And in terms of what they are doing with this team, not exactly a fit in terms of they're although he's a big guy, we know that he's mobile. This is really a run first offense. I just don't know, especially when you hear upper management always talk about culture. You hear Nick Caserio talk about culture a lot. I don't know that Cam is an option. Now, before I said no, right? That was before Tyrod went down. Now they've clearly got to go out and get a veteran that can come in and be the backup. One of the things that playing so quickly this week on Thursday does is it gives them a few more days to get somebody in. So I have no doubt they're going to bring in a veteran quarterback. Is it a veteran that's going to come in and step into the number 2 role while Tyrod is out? Or is it a veteran that's going to come in and back up Davis Mills? I think a lot of that will depend on what we see from Davis Mills on Thursday night. Okay? That's what I think. So, but it's really, these are interesting times. I heard some conversation before today. There are people who absolutely say that the Texans should be signing Cam Newton, right? Especially now without Tyrod Taylor and obviously without the fact that Deshaun Watson, is not going to be playing. Okay, that's not going to be an option. We know that. So what is the option? I'm not really sure. Cam Newton might be. I think that we'll know better after this game. Whatever happens, however Davis Mills performs on Thursday night, clearly this team's got to go out and sign a veteran quarterback, right? You can't. Jeff Driscoll's not the answer. I'm just telling you, right? Having him on the practice squad, at least he's been here. He knows the offense. But you never want to see a player get hurt, right? You didn't want to see Tyrod get hurt. You never want to see any player get hurt. You definitely can't have Davis Mills go down, because now you're talking about Jeff Driscoll, and he really, 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 really is not the answer. I tell you a name that I'm going to throw out, and it's really, too late now. Talked about it with a former player during camp as well. I thought they missed an opportunity. I thought they should have taken a look at RG3 as a backup, as a guy to bring with this organization before he signed with ESPN. I think that he would have been, a good veteran to bring into camp, to play behind Tyrod. I thought he would have been a good addition. Neither here nor there. He's calling games for ESPN now, so not that he couldn't leave the booth, but he's got that commitment, and so that's not really an option. So we will see what happens. I heard one of the things I heard earlier today. I was trying to find it. I heard maybe Cam Newton goes into Pittsburgh. Maybe that's where you see Cam Newton head. So I don't know. I think it's just a matter of time. We will see what happens. And of course, Twitter has been exploding with, teams saying, sign Cam Newton, right? Sign Cam Newton as a backup, or as a guy to just come in and push these teams. So we'll see what happens. A couple other things I want to talk to you about as it relates to the Texans. So we know that Tyrod Taylor is out. He has been placed on the injury reserve. They had some other people that got injured yesterday. Let me pull up the injury report. They also on yesterday announced that, let's see, this is the report. So here is the injury report as of yesterday. So it came out on Tuesday. So on Monday, the players who did not participate in practice, wide receiver Danny Amendola, don't expect for him to play. Wide receiver Nico Collins, his shoulder, he got injured Sunday. He won't play. Defensive back Terrence Mitchell had a concussion. I'm thinking he won't play because I can't imagine he could get through the protocol in just those 4 days. Tyrod Taylor, we know it's in hamstring. He's on IR. He's out. And, of course, Deshaun, not injury related. The two players they said they listed as having limited participation, Camu Grugier-Hill, the linebacker with a knee injury, and Justin Reed, safety. We saw Justin get injured and then come back in the game and then leave injured. So on yesterday, here are the players who did not participate in practice. Danny Amendola, okay, Camu Grugier-Hill, Terrence Mitchell, Justin Reed. So basically he's kind of downgraded. I don't think you're going to see him play on Sunday. I saw how he looked when he went down. On Sunday, tomorrow night on Thursday. I saw how he looked when he went down during the game on Sunday, the second time, and he looked like he was grimacing in a lot of pain. He did not participate in practice on yesterday. And, I think the guys who have not participated at all are guys who are likely going to be out, right? So Justin, Terrence Mitchell, I mentioned the concussion. I'm pretty sure he's got to go through the protocol. I don't see that happening. And Danny Amendola. Now, the good thing is, in terms of the receiver core, you have Anthony Miller, who is available and should be back ready for this week. In terms of the Panthers and their injury names that you might recognize, let's see. They had an offensive lineman who has a hamstring who's not practiced. this week, and also a defensive end, Gross Mattis, who has not practiced. Limited participation. Another defensive end, Morgan Fox, ankle. So they are not as banged up as this Houston team. So we'll see what happens in terms of what we won't know anymore until tomorrow, right? Just because I'm trying to see if there's anything else to tell you. So in terms of injuries, there were also some transactions yesterday. So here are the transactions. The Texans placed two players on IR. I mentioned to you Tyrod Taylor. The other is Nico Collins. So Nico is out. He was injured in the game on Sunday as well. They've signed the following player to the active roster from the practice squad. They brought up Anthony Auclair as a tight end. And then they signed another player, Hardy Nickerson, linebacker, to the practice squad. He spent some time with this team before. But those were the moves on yesterday. I don't know that we've seen yet, but we know that they're calling up. We know that they're going to be calling up Jeff Driscoll from the practice squad. I mean, he will be called up, and he will be the backup. He'll be the backup quarterback in the game on Thursday night. Tomorrow night's game at I was about to say Minute Maid Park at NRG Stadium, and then kickoff is at 7:00. I'll be there early, doing a few little live hits from there. So make sure that you're following me on Instagram and also on Twitter and Facebook. Throughout the game, I tweet on. Throughout the game, I'm pretty much active on Twitter. Pre-game and post-game, I'll post some things on Facebook and Instagram. But you can follow my updates throughout the game on Twitter. So that's in a nutshell. What I have to tell you about the Houston Texans. I'm going to post some other sound over the next today and tomorrow from a couple of players. I'll let you hear from David Johnson and Titus Howard, also from Whitney Merciless, and we'll also let you hear from Mark Ingram, right? He's been integral to what this team has been doing with the run game. And listen, like they've all said, this team is a run-first offense. They will continue to do that. What this team is able to do running the ball really determines whether or not they're able to open their offense up. So I'm curious. I'm interested to see what it is they can do in this game on Thursday night. It should be interesting. That's all I got, right? That's the best word. That's the most honest word I can give you, is that it should be interesting. A couple other things. The Houston Sports Awards yesterday announced the class for 2022. And, I have no problem with any of the names that they gave us. I am still advocating that Zena Garrison needs to be a member of the Houston Sports Hall of Fame. I don't get it. So when I heard Patti Smith on the radio station yesterday saying, well, I'll give you a clue. This year it's Deuces Wild. So I said, okay, so Deuces Wild, that definitely means Clyde Drexler and Roger Clemens. And the other person that's going in is Cheryl Swoops. So the class for 2022, and that event is going to be February the 3rd of 2022. It is Roger Clemens. Of course, Roger. He's a Spring Woods High School graduate. He went to UT. He had a long career in the Major League Baseball, including playing for the Houston Astros. He won 7 Cy Young Awards in his career. And of course, there's all the conversation about PEDs, but he is obviously not at all surprising that Roger Clemens is a name on the list. Clyde Drexler, we know who Clyde is. Clyde is a basketball Hall of Famer, Sterling, a Houston native, went to Sterling High School, played at U of H, Phi Slamma Jamma, played most of his career with the Trailblazers, came to Houston in a trade, and was a part of the championship team in 94-95, and has been has been a part of the Houston organization as a broadcaster for several years. So he helped the U of H to 2 Final Four appearances, and he spent 12 seasons with Portland, as I mentioned. And then he came back and helped Houston win a title with his fellow U of H friend and teammate Akeem Olajuwon. And then last but certainly not least is Cheryl Swoops. Cheryl Swoops, who played her college ball at Texas Tech. She came out of Texas Tech and was I think the first woman that had a shoe made named after her. Nike created a shoe for Cheryl Swoops. She came out, went to the WNBA, played for the Houston Comets. I got a chance to know Cheryl there. I actually covered the Comets and was part of their broadcast team for 2 of their championship seasons. But Cheryl Swoops is headed to the Houston Sports Hall of Fame, and she was the first player to sign with the WNBA when she signed with the Houston team, and just the third. She was a part of the Comets' 4 WNBA titles. She's a 3-time Olympic gold medalist. She's a part of the Basketball Hall of Fame. Was a 3-time WNBA MVP and a 3-time WNBA Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time WNBA scoring champion. So congratulations to the class of 2022. Deuce is wild. It's Roger Clemens, Clyde Drexler, Cheryl Swoops. So I should change it. Put the lady first. Cheryl Swoops, Clyde Drexler, and Roger Clemens. I will work to get each of them, at least Cheryl. I don't have outside of the team, a lot of access in terms of Roger Clemens, but I'll work to get Cheryl on. I've been meaning to get her on anyway. She is back in the area, and so I need to reach out to Cheryl and get her on. So we talk about when the crowd stops cheering. So that is my segment for today. The thing I want to mention about when the crowd stops cheering. Things still happen, right? Roger Clemens, Cheryl Swoops, Clyde Drexler. They've all retired from playing their sports, but still very much have a presence. And here's the other thing I want to do. I want to show you a picture because for our when the crowd stops cheering, let's see here, segment, and not that. Let's see here. I wanted to show you that. Simone Biles, okay, is on the one of the 100 world's most influential people by Time magazine. She was on a special last week. Serena Williams also has talked about it and wrote something in this story. Wait, where is the Serena Williams stuff? And so she is 24 years old, has cemented herself as one of the most decorated American gymnasts of all time. But when she's not on the mat competing in front of the world, she strikes a powerful balance between humility and confidence. And so where we saw Simone recently, of course, was last week, testifying before Congress. And all of the Larry Nassar stuff, she has just been a pillar of strength and grace and dignity. And so I am just always excited about Simone Biles. And whenever I can share something about her on this show, I will. She is the truth. So Simone Biles, congratulations to her for being a part of the 100 most influential people in the world. She has certainly earned that, and I'm sure she will continue to do things to make us all proud along the way. So congratulations to Simone Biles. So I mentioned Houston Astros. Got a chance to go out last week and cover some Astros baseball and visit with Dusty Baker. We'll play some more. The Stros are on the road. They had a pretty impressive offensive outing the past couple of days. They are winding down the regular season, headed toward postseason. Let me ask you guys a question, and I want you to put it in the chat here. what do you think? They brought back Marvin Gonzalez recently, and I want to know your thoughts about who's going to make the postseason roster. Does Marvin Gonzalez, does he make it? Is that the bat you want in your lineup? So I'm just curious. The Astros won last night. They beat the Angels in Los Angeles. The final was 10-5. So that right now, the Astros record is 90-61. They in their last 10 games have gone 8-2. They are now 8 games ahead of the Oakland A's in the American League West. So, if the playoffs were to start today, the American League leaders, so you would have Tampa Bay, Houston, and the White Sox, and then Boston and Toronto are fighting for the wild card. In the National League, it's San Francisco, Milwaukee, and Atlanta. And they, in fact, San Francisco and Milwaukee have already clinched. And the Dodgers have clinched the wild card. St. Louis is right behind them. Not right behind them. They are, the next team in terms of, in the wild card race, right? So, another couple weeks of the season, the regular season ends on October the 3rd. The Astros will finish their season at home. And I think their final series is against the A's at Minute Maid Park. So, yeah. It is, let me see. It is against the, who did they end their season with? They play at home. Yeah, at home against the Oakland A's. So that is how they end their season. And now we're talking about October, we're talking postseason. So all that is happening. I will keep you posted on what's happening with the Houston Astros down the stretch, especially as we look to who's going to be on this postseason roster, and also what's happening with the Houston Texans and around the National Football League. The other thing is I'm going to share a menu sometime later today. I'll post it on Instagram and more than likely on Facebook. Something that you guys might want to check out and make for your Thursday night viewing. Since it's technically fall, although the weather is more pleasant, but it's not really cool. It'll probably be a soup though, so something that you can make so that you can have something nice and tasty, but easy to make at home as you're watching the game. So, as always, thank you for being a part of Chalk Talk. I appreciate you. Thank you for engaging. It's good for you to be part of the conversation. And remember, if you will, share the video with whatever platform that you are viewing this show on today. Also, let me hear from you. If there's something that you'd like for me to have on Chalk Talk, if there's a topic you'd like for me to address, or there's somebody you'd like for me to visit with, shoot me an email. You can always email me, kim@kimydavis.com, kim@kimydavis.com. And you can also send me a message on whatever platform you are watching this show now. I will respond to you as soon as I can. And I will work to see what we can do about getting some of those shows and topics on. That's why I've added the When the Crowd Stops Cheering segments. I'm adding the recipes, and I would have added a video in the show, but because I'm getting the shows down to a shorter time, I didn't want to take part of the time during the show with the recipe, but I will post it for you sometime later today. So listen, as always, remember, do something kind for yourself. And do something kind for somebody else, right? Because it's really not just about us. So make sure that you're doing something kind for somebody else. I'm going to say this: get the vaccine. If you have not been vaccinated, get the vaccine. If you have questions, it's understandable. Find somebody, a medical person. Get the research from somebody who has a background based in science and can talk to you about it. I don't make any judgment because you have questions that you want answered, but just try to get the answers from somebody make sure you get the information from somebody who's qualified to give it to you. All right. So get vaccinated. Make sure you're wearing your mask. Even those of you who are vaccinated, those of us who are vaccinated, when you're moving around, especially indoors, wear your mask. Practice social distancing, as you know, that's important. Make sure that you're washing your hands and that you're using hand sanitizer. Do all that kind of stuff, because what we know is that this COVID-19 is still very much with us. Unfortunately, it is still taking lives daily. And whatever we can do to, stem that stem that tide, I encourage you to do that. So again, thank you for being a part of Chalk Talk. I appreciate you. I'll see you next Tuesday on Chalk Talk. And until then, I'll see you on my social media platforms. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you.